You are currently at your wedding night. The music is playing, everyone is dancing and celebrating, everyone is happy, and probably your biggest worry is that your wedding cake might arrive late. The wedding ends, and you happily go to spend the first night of your married life with your spouse. But suddenly you realize that you aren't going to be alone as a couple in bed. And if you hear the rest of the full story and find out what is expected of the bride and groom, your mind will blow from astonishment. Because from millions of years ago until now, ancient humans had very weird, embarrassing, and even terrifying marriage customs. And what you just heard was the best case scenario. And as we go further, we are going to get closer to the verge of a heart attack. Thousands of years ago, when a girl wanted to take a walk by herself and enjoy some fresh air, the chances of someone throwing a sack over her head, tossing her over his shoulder, and making a run for it were very high. And in that case, the girl had to marry that man, a custom known as bride kidnapping. But what's even weirder than that is that there was no love involved. Neither did the man do it out of love and affection, nor did the girl have any feelings for the man. So, what was the reason? A shortage of women in the man's group and tribe. Avoiding paying the dowry or bride price. Competition among tribal groups, emphasizing the power and status of men in patriarchal societies. So probably, if you're watching this video and you're a man, you might say, I wish it were like this right now. Just imagine. You go out into the street, wait around until the lucky bride-to-be shows up, and then you just throw her over your shoulder and bolt. But if you are a woman, not only for this tradition, but also for the next one I'm about to mention, you'll probably destroy me in the comments. Because at one point in history, women used to marry multiple men at the same time. Why? Because in some agricultural or mountainous societies, arable land was scarce. And if every son of the family married separately and had children, the family land would be divided into small plots. To prevent this problem, several brothers would marry one woman, and the family would remain a single economic unit. Yeah, you heard that right. Several brothers. This type is called fraternal polyandry. And the second reason for this choice was the shortage of women. Overall, it seems we had a major shortage of women in those times, but no matter how much of a shortage there was, whether it was a shortage of women or a shortage of food or even stones raining from the sky, we probably still wouldn't have married our own sisters. That's right. In ancient times, many wealthy and royal families used to do this. To preserve power and wealth, to prevent the transfer of the throne, and because of religious beliefs and imitating the gods. Of course, they might have just said the last one to cover it up. In any case, today with the advancement of science and technology, we know that marriage between very close relatives increases the probability of genetic diseases. Genetic studies on some ancient royal families have also revealed signs of these problems. Let's not talk about this any further, because I'm sure it will mess both you and me up. Instead, let's talk about marrying the dead. Of course, calm down, I don't mean sexual relations with dead people. Imagine you are sitting at home and relaxing by yourself. Suddenly, your sister opens the door and says she has found a great catch for you to marry. A handsome man. Maybe rich, maybe with a good lineage. But he has one problem. You'd probably say whatever the problem is, it can be dealt with, but the guy is dead, and you have to marry his corpse. What was the goal? The goal was to ensure the dead man wouldn't remain wifeless in the afterlife. But, well, at least the woman continued her life after the marriage because in the custom of Sati, a widow would set herself on fire after her husband's death. But before I continue, guess the worst custom that existed in ancient times. And this image that came on the screen for a moment is my help to you. Now let's get back to the custom of Sati, a custom in which a widow would set herself on fire after her husband's death. Or rather, they would set her on fire. Of course, it doesn't seem like this act was done voluntarily. Some reports even say that they would forcefully set the woman on fire to preserve their family's honor because they thought it had spiritual rewards and to show the woman's absolute loyalty to the man. Even in some cases, it seems they forced this culture to become the norm so that no heir would remain. And in different parts of the world, they practiced this custom under different names. In one place, they would bury them alive, and in another, they would drown them. But regarding the custom I talked about at the beginning of the video, the bride and groom were obligated to have their first sexual intercourse in front of all their relatives and tribes. And everyone had to be certain of this. Even in some other traditions, the families would stand outside and wait for the groom to hand them a blood-stained cloth resulting from the bride's first time. So, when we look at all these customs, a strange question comes to mind. If we had been born 1,000 years ago, which of these things would have seemed completely normal to us? Because the truth is, most of the people who did these things didn't consider themselves monsters. They were just living according to the culture and beliefs of their own time. Just as today we look at some past customs with astonishment and horror, maybe 1,000 years from now, humans will look at some of our current behaviors the exact same way.